Good day, viewers. Welcome to our part 2 episode. We are going to continue from the previous part 1, which is on how to import a spatial data set for environmental analysis. And in this part, we are going to see how can we use this particular data that we have imported from the previous episode to classify land use land cover. If you have not watched part 1, you have to go back and do so for you to understand the processes on how to import land's spatial data set. Since we make an example, we take an example of Landsat 8, how to import Landsat 8. Let's continue from where we stopped on our previous part 1. After we import our data, what we need to do is to create our training sample, and to do so is we have to come back here. We can click a marker. When we click a marker, then we come back here and create a new layer. We create a new layer, and from this new layer we can click on the setting, modify, change the name to the water. Then the geometric, we have to change the geometric to the feature collection. Then the property, we click on the property, we name the property as LC. Then in the value here we give it 1. Then the color we change it to blue. Then we click OK. Then we come back here and create another new geometric then we name it build. Then we give it feature collection property. We still give it LC here. They have the same, then we give it 2. Then we create another new layer. We give it beach. Then we feature collection property, the same LC, and we give it 3, and we give it dark color, dark green. Then we create another new one. We give it agric. We change geometric to the feature collection. Then we give it LC here, the same. It means that all the training sample must have the same property LC, which here we give it 4. Then we give it light green. We just say OK. Then the last thing here for our tutorial is beer surface. Beer, we give it here feature collection property. Remember that our property is LC all over. Then here we give it what, 5, and we give it yellow. We just say OK. Now here we successfully created our training sample. Their name, we create a variable for the water training sample, for the build-up, for the vegetation and agriculture. Then what we need to do is, now we can come and enhance our image. We create a from the custom. We click on stretching. Then our gamma, we click on 3.6. We apply it. Then we close it. We close it. This is the stretch. This is in enhancing our image. If you can see it's clearly differentiate between a dense vegetation, agricultural area, build-up area, and water body. Now from here, what we need to do is to take the sample. Now the first time we come here and click on the water, it means that we already enabled the water. Then we can come back here and pick the sample for the water body. For the water body. But the higher the training sample, the higher the possible the accuracy will be, because you give the algorithm. It will enable algorithm to easily classify, to differentiate between one fixer to other fixer. You understand? Then we take for the what build-up area. For the build-up area, then we build the train for the vegetation. Then we pick example of the agricultural land. Then we pick example of training sample point of the bare surface. Now we successfully collect all our training sample. We collect all our training sample. Then what we need to do here, then the next thing is we to come and harmonize our training sample and combine them together. Then here we create a variable called training sample, which is equals to, what we need to do is that since we are combining, we start with the water dot match. We are going, that is means we are merging all the training sample. Match what build dot match open bracket beach dot match open bracket agric dot match open bracket beer. All our training sample together. Then the next thing, we have to create our training data, which is variable training underscore dt, that means data, which is equals to, the first thing is selection. Selection is that we call our data that we created in the previous video, then dot sample regions open bracket, then another bracket. Then we create, the first thing is what we need to have is collection, the column. Then we are going to call our training sample. Then the next thing what we have is the properties. Column. In our properties, remember what we all during when we are creating the training point training data set, we normally give a property as LC. Here also we are going to call that particular LC. Then our scale, we are dealing with the 30 meter resolution of Landsat 8. Here we also call it 30 meter resolution. Now, after we create our data set, our training data, the next thing is now we initialize the classifier, which is, you see, variable classifier equals to ee dot classifier dot smile cat bracket Then after creating a classifier, the next thing is to train our classifier. We say, okay, variable classifier equals to classifier dot train, open bracket. The first thing we start to call a features, and this our features is the training data, training underscore df. The next thing we call which is our LC. Then the next thing what we need to call is, we should call our input properties. This is the collection of all the bands we have, or based on the prepared band, based on your own preference, either based on your, I say this is based on the what, your combination, your desired combination of the band that you want to use. In our case here, we are going to use band 5. That is mean first color, band 4, band 4, band 3. Now, the next thing what we need to do is that now we have to classify our image. Variable classify underscore img, which is equals to, now with selection. This is the data set that we created in the previous video. Dot classify, open bracket. Then we call what we call our classifier here. Then we add the classify image into the map. Map dot add layer, open bracket, classify underscore img. Here we call the classify image, the classify language, land cover. Then we create a addition, that's our minimum value during the assigning a value for each land cover during the training collection of the training sample. Our minimum is 1, while our maximum is 5. Then we should create a color for each of the land use and land cover. We call palette column. Then the first is water, we give it blue. Then the second one is build up area, We give it read. Okay, after successfully creating all our variables, what we need to do is that we need to run the land use land cover classification. Now, if you can see, it creates successfully land use land cover classification. That's why there is some error, classify error. And I believe this is from the sample being collected by ourselves. When we collected the sampling, it's created this particular problem. But if you carefully collect the sample points, it will give you a high accuracy of your land use land cover classification. Thank you for watching this particular video. I hope to see you next time. Please like it,